Neurodiversity. Philosophically, the neurodiversity movement is based on what can be called cerebral pluralism, the idea that each brain is different and some more different than others. Politically, the movement is aligned with disability rights movements and is dedicated to eradicating stigmas associated with neurological differences, or neurodivergence, and in making it clear that a history of medical and social misunderstanding and maltreatment have caused a great deal of suffering and prevented a great deal of thriving among neurodivergent people. Principles. Neurodiversity is an essential form of human diversity. The idea that there is one, quotes, normal or healthy type of brain or mind, or one, quotes, right style of neurocognitive functioning is no more valid than the idea that there is one, quotes, normal or right gender, race, or culture. The classification of neurodivergence, for example, autism, ADHD, dyslexia, bipolarity, as medical psychiatric pathology has no valid scientific basis, and instead reflects cultural prejudice and can be oppressive to those labeled as such. The social dynamics around neurodiversity are similar to the dynamics that manifest around other forms of human diversity. These dynamics include unequal distribution of social power. Conversely, when embraced, diversity can act as a source of creative potential. In practice, practitioners who integrate the neurodiversity paradigm into their work do so by refusing to label neurodivergence as intrinsically pathological. Instead of attempting to, quotes, cure autistic or bipolar clients, for instance, these practitioners seek to help autistic or bipolar people thrive as autistic or bipolar people, finding ways of living that are more in harmony with their neurological dispositions, and helping them to heal from internalized oppression. Development. The focus of work within the neurodiversity paradigm has broadened beyond autism to encompass other forms of neurodivergence, while at the same time the paradigm has increasingly gained footholds in various realms of scholarship, literature, and practice. In the field of breathwork, we inherently accept clients as divine beings who display divergent manifestations of their personhood that have been shaped and conditioned by both love or fear. We use breath and acceptance to help them experience their true nature and release limiting beliefs which suppress their full potential. And we can have our blind spots and unconscious reactions to behaviors and ways of being that have been judged or shunned in our culture. As teenagers, for example, the need to get approval or fit in one's peer group can produce aversive reactions to neurological differences in speech, cognitive processing, or bodily control. Judgments and prejudices are held in place by deep fears of those not like members of, quotes, our tribe. In the course of our early development, primal human fears around safety, inclusion, freedom of movement, and self-expression, gender orientation, and intimacy become organized into patterns that function well for us or keep us in frozen or defensive modes. In the extreme, these have produced enduring conditions of dis-ease, which have been labeled medically for the purpose of trying to find effective ways of treating them. Most of these diagnoses came from correlating a constellation of dysfunctional symptoms rather than a recognition of causative factors. These labels have become lifelong stigmas for many and even self-fulfilling prophecies. I have used Alexander Lowen's detailed work on the inherited and environmental causative factors of dysfunctional patterns of thought and behavior held in place by fear. A body theme is an enduring constellation of structural and characterological positions a person takes toward their life that reflect basic beliefs about themselves and their world, and how to survive and grow in it. I have assisted numerous clients and students over the years release holding patterns by breath, movement, and self-realization, insight. I have translated the pathological medical terminology for these neurodivergent patterns and emphasized the gifts of integration hidden within them for the field of breathwork. Bringing to integration the 6 major developmental themes that are cross-culturally validated is one of the major goals of therapeutic breathwork. We have changed the labels of schizoid to psychic sensitive, oral fixation or dependent personality to empathetic nurturing, psychopathic to inspirational leader, masochistic to steadfast supportive, homosexuality to gender balanced, and narcissism and obsessive compulsive disorder to energetic rounded. Now, this reframing is not semantic euphemisms. It's a critical shift in consciousness to honor the neurodiversity in the healing field of holistic practice, and more specifically, breathwork. We are getting to causative factors of healthy or stuck patterns of divergence on the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual levels in our practice. We are facilitating the continuum from less integrated to more integrated functioning as a normal progression, rather than a polarizing divide between sick and healthy. And as such, we're in the vanguard of a paradigm shift in consciousness. We are providing a framework for the origins of emotional and psychological dis-ease as themes originating in human development rather than a collection of symptoms which appear spontaneously throughout life or are genetically predetermined. Now, traumas can happen at any point in one's lifespan, but the course of one's trauma manifestation and recovery will have its roots in their basic characterological patterning. Every person is a recipient of the makeup of the human gene pool and has the potential for manifestation of each of the body themes. But as we know from the field of epigenetics, it is environmental triggers which activate the potentials of our chromosome makeup into our actual functioning. It is these early environmental triggers on which the study of body themes is focused. However, there is an all-important factor beyond chromosomal makeup and environmental triggers that therapeutic breathwork highlights. That is the predominance of individual human spirit and human resilience to make choices that supersede statistical expectations that we might have about their nature-nurture makeup. We now have a container for the study of human growth and development, which can help us interpret body themes and communication patterns, not a typology to classify and predetermine human destiny or an individual's potential or value. Anxiety, generalized fear, depression, loss of self-worth, lack of energy and motivation, and addiction, dependence on outside substances for self-regulation, can occur in each of the various body themes. But the causative factors are different for each. Consequently, the approach to healing is different. We adopt the healing power of the breath to fit the characterological and physical holding patterns of each theme, and teach the tools of self-regulation that work best for the person, not the symptom. In bringing increased understanding of healthy aspects, strengths, and gifts to the world that is at the core of neurodivergent ways of being, and using the tools of breathwork to bring these forth, we are rewriting the pathways of healing for so many whose only recourse had been the use of psychotropic medications and occasional talk therapy. Medications do have a place at times to deal with chemical imbalances that have resulted from long-term dysregulated living, but they should be used only to the extent that they promote the increase of self-regulation. For many, that is where breathwork is supplying a next step that is vital to their self-esteem and self-acceptance. I invite sharing and collaboration of these advances in treatment and with other healing arts and scientific research that is promoting our growing world consciousness.